Hey friends, the DeFi Doctor here. I'm the head of education at Decentralized Masters. And in this video, I want to take you behind something that happens to almost every DeFi user. You go to swap a token, you see a price on the screen, you confirm the transaction, and then you end up with less than you expected. Maybe a little less, maybe a lot less. Most people blame the market. They assume it's just volatility, or bad timing, or some random quirk of how DEXs work. But here's the thing, it's not random, it's math. And in some cases, it's automated bots actively extracting money from your wallet based on a setting you configured yourself. That setting is your slippage tolerance. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what it does, why it matters, and how to use it as a protection tool rather than an open invitation. So without further ado, let's get into it. Slippage is simply the difference between the price you see when you click swap and the price at which your trade actually executes. You see $2,000 per ETH. You confirm. You receive ETH that cost you $2,020. That $20 difference is slippage. Now, slippage has two sources, and it's worth separating them clearly. The first is price impact, what your own trade does to the pool. This is deterministic. It is calculated before you submit the transaction. More on this in a moment. The second is external market movement, other trades landing in the same block, prices shifting while your transaction is pending, and bots front-running your order. This is less predictable. Most people conflate these two things, but they're different. They have different causes, and understanding which one is hurting you changes how you respond to it. The good news is that for most trades, price impact is the dominant factor. The price impact is entirely driven by one thing: pool depth. If you've watched our impermanent loss video, you already know about the constant product formula, X times Y equals K. The pool must maintain that constant product after every trade. Here's what that means for slippage in practice. Let's say a pool holds 100 ETH and 200,000 USDC. The spot price is $2,000 per ETH. If you buy 1 ETH, that's 1% of the pool's ETH. Your price impact is about 1%. You pay $2,020 instead of $2,000. If you buy 10 ETH, 10% of the pool, your price impact jumps to over 11%. You're now paying an average of $2,222 per ETH. If you buy 25 ETH, a quarter of the pool, price impact hits 33%. You're paying $2,667 per ETH. Now you might be thinking, shouldn't buying a quarter of the pool cost exactly 25% more? The reason it's higher is that the curve is not linear. Each ETH you pull out costs more than the last, because with every purchase, the pool has less ETH and more USDC. The first ETH is cheap. The 25th is expensive. Your 33% is the average across all of them, and the curve gets steeper the deeper you go. Let's think about that for a second. The same trade, buying ETH, costs 33% more simply because the pool is too shallow to absorb it without moving the price dramatically. The solution is simple in principle: trade in deeper pools. The deeper the pool, the smaller percentage of reserves your trade represents, and the less it moves the price. A $100,000 trade in a $500 million pool moves the price almost nothing, while the same $100,000 trade in a $200,000 pool moves it catastrophically. This is why pool depth is one of the first things you should check before making any significant trade. Let me show you what happens when someone ignores pool depth completely. In March 2026, a wallet swapped $50.4 million worth of USDT for AAVE tokens through the AAVE interface. The interface routed the trade through a pool that held roughly $73,000 in liquidity. That $50 million trade was being sent into a pool that could not absorb even a fraction of it. The wallet received 327 AAVE tokens, worth approximately $36,000. $50 million in, $36,000 out. The protocol worked exactly as designed. The math did exactly what it was supposed to. The interface even showed the catastrophic pricing before the user confirmed the transaction. They confirmed it anyway. This is not a story about DeFi being broken. It's a story about what happens when you do not understand what you are approving before you click confirm. Pool depth is not a technical detail. It is the difference between a normal trade and losing everything. Now, here is where most DeFi users make a critical mistake. Slippage tolerance is not a prediction of how much you will lose. It is a guardrail, the maximum amount you are willing to accept before the transaction reverts. Set it to 2% and your transaction will execute if the final price is within 2% of the quote. If it moves beyond that, the transaction fails and you keep your original tokens, minus the gas fee. That sounds safe. And for one purpose, it is. It protects you from getting a catastrophically bad fill. But here is the nuance that most people never learn. Your slippage tolerance setting is also the maximum amount that MEV bots can extract from your trade. Let me explain how that works. MEV bots, maximal extractable value bots, constantly scan the public mempool for pending swap transactions. When they find one, they calculate exactly how much they can extract given the tolerance you have set. If you set 5% tolerance, a bot can buy the same token just before your trade lands, pushing the price up, and immediately sell after your trade executes, pushing the price right back down. You bought at an artificially inflated price, and they sold immediately after at an inflated price too. You're left holding a position that's already worth less than what you paid. This is called a sandwich attack, and it is not occasional. It is industrial. One bot, known publicly as Jared from Subway.eth, was present in over 60% of Ethereum blocks at its peak. By May 2023 alone, it had extracted over $6 million in profit, and it was just one bot. The lower your tolerance, the less extractable value bots have to work with. At 0.5%, the attack is often unprofitable after gas costs. At 5%, it is an invitation. So, what should you actually set? For stablecoin trades on Curve, 0.01 to 0.1%. Curve's design minimizes price impact on pegged assets. Anything wider is unnecessary and increases your bot exposure. For blue chip pairs like ETH and USDC on Uniswap, 0.1 to 0.5%. Deep pools, predictable behavior. For mid-cap altcoins, 0.5 to 1%. Watch the price impact on the interface. If it's showing more than 1% before you submit, the pool is too shallow for your trade size. Split it or reconsider. For new token launches, 15 to 20% is common and sometimes necessary, but understand what you are accepting. At those tolerance levels, bots are active and aggressive. Treat the slippage as part of your entry cost and size accordingly. One thing that applies to all of these: if you see a price impact warning above 2% before you confirm anything, stop. That warning is the protocol telling you the pool cannot absorb your trade cleanly. And here are a few practical tools for checking this before you commit. Dex Screener, Gecko Terminal, and Dex Tools all show pool liquidity. Dex Tools specifically shows whether LP tokens are locked or unlocked, which is the fastest single check for whether the project's liquidity can disappear overnight. Now, I want to connect this to something that directly affects how our members at Decentralized Masters approach early market opportunities. In the native markets, where tokens trade before centralized exchange listings, pool depth is often extremely thin. A $1,000 trade causing 10% or more price impact is not unusual on a freshly launched token. That is not just a trading cost, it's a signal. A pool that small means a single determined seller can crash the price to near zero. And this is exactly why at Decentralized Masters, slippage and price impact screening is one of the first checks we teach members to run before entering any new position in a native market. Before you commit capital, check the price impact on a small test amount. If a $500 trade is already showing a 5 to 10% impact, the pool cannot support your position safely. Our research team flags this as part of their vetting process. It is one of the fastest ways to separate a real opportunity from a liquidity trap. The position itself may be the risk, not just the slippage. So let's bring this together. Slippage is not random. It is the direct result of two things: the math of how liquidity pools absorb your trade, and the external environment of bots and market movements that happen between your quote and your execution. Price impact is predictable and calculable before you submit. Pool depth determines it. Check it. Slippage tolerance is your guardrail, but it is also the ceiling bots use to extract value from your trade. Set it as low as the pool conditions allow. And when a small trade shows a high price impact warning on a new token, that is not a detail to dismiss. That is the pool telling you something important about the risk of the position. The investors who understand these mechanics are not just avoiding losses. They are making better decisions at every step, from how they size a trade to how they evaluate a new project. Most people click confirm without reading what the interface is actually telling them. Now you know what to look out for. If you want to see how slippage awareness fits into a complete system for building wealth in DeFi, including how our co-founder Tan took $57,000 and turned it into over $1.87 million, that is all covered in the next video right here. We've linked it in the top of the description below. Until next time, be safe and be decentralized.